Hello everyone and welcome to our video for mobility flow. So this is just going to be a general mobility flow video with a couple of ab and glute exercises in there as well. So as always, we're going to start in the centre of our mat with feet close together, and we're going to separate them heel toe apart, bringing a soft bend into both knees. Then we're just going to gently rock backward and forward between the toes and the heels, just to try and spread the weight evenly throughout the feet as best as you can. Just rocking gently back and forward. Then once you've done that a couple of times, I want you to try your best to spread the weight evenly throughout the base of the foot, between the heel to the big toe and then the wee toe. And as you can see, we're just coming into our calf raises, so just coming right up onto the toes just to start warming up the legs. And just completing that for a couple of reps. And once we have finished our calf raises, we're going to make our way up towards the hips. So I want you to place your hands on your hips and imagine a nice big belt buckle. We're going to tilt the belt buckle down towards the floor and up towards the ceiling, just to get the hips and low back moving. As you can see, I'm turning sideways. I'm turning my hips down towards the floor and then up towards the ceiling. And again, just getting a wee bit of movement in there. Once you've completed this a couple of times, I want you to tilt your hips where you find that the belt buckle will be pointing straight ahead, and you can start to feel that wee connection in your low tummy. Hands are then going to come to the ribs. We're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, and as we breathe out through the mouth, I want you to imagine drawing rib cage down towards belly button, just to deepen that core connection. And then we're just going to start waking up the upper body. So we're going to tuck our chin to our chest, hold for a nice deep breath in through the nose, and as we exhale, we're bringing one ear towards that shoulder, holding for our breath, and again breathing out, rotating head right round and through, and bringing the opposite ear round to the other shoulder. Just repeating this a couple of times, breathing in to hold the position and breathing out to move the neck around. Once we've completed this for a couple of reps, I want you to imagine a string tied at the top of your head and someone's pulling it up to the ceiling to bring your head back up, just to get a nice length through the back of the neck. And now we're going into our shoulder rolls. So we're going to go for 5 rolls backwards, nice big exaggerated circles, and then 5 rolls forwards as well. Again, trying to exaggerate the circles, trying to awaken up the shoulders. And once now that we have done that, whole body nice and warmed up, got everything moving, we're going to go into starting with the chin tuck to the chest, starting with the chin tuck to the chest and both knees. We're going to take a deep breath in through the nose, a nice deep breath, and as we breathe out through the mouth, hands are sliding along the front of the legs, bringing hands down along the front of the legs, and imagine that you're curling your spine bit by bit as you go down towards the floor, as you come down towards the floor. And we're going to hold here for 3 once we're down towards the floor and in our position, we're going to hold here for 3 deep breaths, slowly out through the mouth. I want you to really breathe deeply in through your nose as if you're trying to expand the rib cage, and then nice and slowly out through your mouth. After you've finished your 3 breaths, you're going to bring your hands back towards the ankles. Take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to start slowly coming back up to standing, keeping the chin tucked to the chest until the very end. And in your roll up, I want you to imagine as if you're trying to uncurl your spine bit by bit as you come up towards standing again. Again, keeping chin tucked to chest until the very end, and trying your best to keep a nice soft bend in both knees. On your final exhale, we're going to bring the hands back towards the ankles. Take another deep inhale in through the nose. And as we breathe out through the mouth again, we're coming back up to standing, keeping chin tucked to chest until the very end, a soft bend in both knees, and you're trying to uncurl your spine bit by bit as you come back up to standing. Now we're going to tuck our elbows in beside our waist, having the palms facing the ceiling. Nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're sending your arms out as if you're trying to really touch each side of the room that you're in. It's a nice deep breath in to hold the position, and an exhale to rotate the arms and then spread them out into your toy soldier position. You can just stay there, or another progression in this exercise is as you send the arms out, we're going to come up onto the toes and then come back onto the heels as we bring the arms back in. Again, this is a progression. Just stay with whichever you're comfortable with today, and it'll be something, if you're not doing today, something that you can maybe do in the future. So again, nice deep breath in to return back to the ground, and an exhale to come up onto the toes, spread the arms out and return back to the ground. And that is the end of our warm-up in standing. So we're going to have our small head pillow, and we're going to do another roll down towards the mat. So just tucking chin to chest. As you can see, nice soft bend in both knees, and bringing hands down towards the floor, trying to curl the spine bit by bit, and then just walking ourselves out onto the mat, lowering ourselves down. We're going to place our forehead on the head pillow, and we're going to have our arms just at either side of our head. And I want you to imagine you're tucking your belly button up towards your spine just to protect your low back. And then what we're going to do is tuck our chin to your chest, and you're just pushing through your hands to lift the top of your body off the mat, holding for a breath, and as you exhale, just coming down slowly back to the mat. Resetting ourselves, taking a deep breath in as we breathe out, pushing through our hands to lift the top of our body off, keeping our chin tucked to chest the whole time, holding for a breath, and then bringing ourselves back down. Each time you might find that you might be able to go a little bit further up, but just working with what you're comfortable to come into that stretch, holding for a breath and releasing on the way down. And we're just going to repeat this for a couple of times just to get a wee bit of movement into that low back and into the top of the spine as well. You'll see here that I am going a wee bit further than I did at the start. Again, just keeping with whichever movement you're comfortable with today, and making sure that we're not pushing too further back that it's causing any pain. But you're always going to hold for a breath in and then exhale to bring yourself back down towards the floor. This should be a nice and slow and controlled movement, so don't speed through this. Take it nice and slow and moving nice and gently throughout the movement. You'll see here I've held this last pose for a couple of more breaths than normal. And if that's where you're comfortable, you can hold for a couple of more breaths. We're then just going to remove the head pillow and bring ourselves into an all fours position. So we're going to bring knees directly underneath hips, and hands are just going to be underneath your shoulders, digging our toes into the ground. And from here, we're going to go into our cat camel. So you're going to take a nice deep breath in, trying to curl the spine as much as you can. And as you breathe out, our head and bum comes up towards the ceiling and belly button drops down towards the mat. Holding for a breath, and as we breathe out, bringing it back into that cat position, trying to curl your spine as much as possible. And just move here with your breath, so we're breathing out to come up, and then we're taking a breath in to bring belly button down towards the floor and head and bum come up towards the ceiling. And again, just repeating this movement with the speed of your breath, and just taking it nice and slow as well as we had the previous movement too. Our next movement is going to be a thread the needle, just to bring a wee bit more movement into the top of the back. So as you see, I'm bringing my right arm right up towards the ceiling, following it around with my eyes, and then I'm just threading it through and round the opposite arm. I'm holding there for a breath, and as I breathe out, arm comes back up towards the ceiling and then back round underneath the opposite arm. Each time I'm holding for an increased number of breaths. So at the start I held for 1 breath, then we're going to hold for 2, and then the final one we're going to hold for 3 before we swap over to the other side. So again, just getting a nice flat back, arm goes up towards the ceiling, following it round with our eyes, and then threads through underneath that opposite arm. Again, holding for 1 on the first, exhaling back round, and then threading it through, and this time holding for 2 breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then coming up to your final one, you're going to thread the arm through, and this time you're going to hold for 3 breaths in and out through the mouth, just to get a real nice stretch through that upper part of our back. The next movement we're going to move on to is our downward dog. So I want you to dig the toes into the ground. Arms are going to be slightly in front of the shoulders, and then you're pushing through your hands and feet to come up into almost an upside down V position. Stretching through into a long plank, and then pushing back, taking nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. You don't have to come forward into that plank, you can just hold this position. Coming through into the plank just gives the back a nice wee break. And again, pushing through, trying to get your heels onto the ground. If your toes are just on the ground, that's okay. We can work towards getting the heels down. And now I'm going to show you a progression of this exercise. So if you want to move all the way into your left leg, we're going to extend out the right leg and then push that knee up towards that elbow. So you're extending through, pushing through, drawing rib cage up and knee up towards belly button. And we're just going to repeat this a couple of times. Again, you don't have to do this progression, you can just hold the downward dog position. But if you're here, we're going to swap over to the other leg, so moving all the way into the right foot, extending out that left leg, and then drawing that left knee up towards the left elbow, and bringing the knee up towards our belly button. Really pushing through the abs here to draw the leg rounding through. And really hugging that knee up towards the chest and extending it back. Just going back into your downward position if you were in that progression. And we're just going to come out of that gently back onto your hands and knees and into a child's pose. So toes are going to stay together, knees apart, and we're pushing back as if we're trying to sit on our heels. Letting the head drop towards the mat, and we're going to hold this position while we're breathing deeply in through the nose as if you're trying to expand the rib cage out to either side, and then exhaling nice and slowly through the mouth. Just giving a nice stretch to that low back, even if you want to try and walk your fingertips forward to give it an increased stretch, and just holding here, taking nice deep breaths, again just to give the low back a nice stretch and a wee bit of a break after being in that downward dog position. We're going to take our final breath in, and this time as you breathe out, coming back into that all fours position. And when you're ready, just grab your small head pillow and meet me in lying on the mat. So we're going to get nice and centered here like we do in standing. So we're going to bend the knees and have the feet nice and flat along the ground. Bringing our hands to the hips, we're going to bring the hips up towards the face and down towards the feet. And again, like we do in standing, just going through that a couple of repetitions just to get some nice movement in the low back. Then I want you to find a position where it kind of is in the middle of that movement, where you can start to feel that core connection in your low tummy and your low back is flat on the mat. Hands are then going to come to the rib cage like we do in standing, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, and as you breathe out through your mouth, drawing rib cage down towards belly button just to deepen that core connection. Making sure chin's tucked to chest, and we're going to go into our shoulder bridges. So it's very important that before each shoulder bridge you bring hips up towards face and then push through the heels to lift your bum off the ground. As we come down, I want your hips to come back towards your feet before you rotate them up, and then push through heels again, trying to uncurl the spine bit by bit off the floor, and as you return in, the spine is coming down again bit by bit towards the floor. So here again we're just working with our breath. We're exhaling to come lift our bum up off the floor, and an inhale to hold at the top, and an exhale again to lower ourselves back down. So again, just working slowly, working with our breath and as quick as we can today. In this next bridge I'm going to show you a progression, but just stick with the normal shoulder bridges if that's where you're at. In the progression, we're going to move all the weight into one leg as we extend the other leg, and then returning back down towards the mat. Again, letting hips rotate down to the feet, back up to the face, and pushing through the heels to come up, moving the weight into the opposite leg and extending out the other leg before we return back down towards the mat. So again, this is just a progression if that's where you feel comfortable. If you're just comfortable with the normal shoulder bridges today, just stay there, but we're just going to stay in our shoulder bridges, whether you're extending one leg or just doing the normal shoulder bridges. We're going to stay here for a couple of more reps. So coming into our final rep here, we're going to lower back down to the ground, and then we're going to tuck our knees up to our chest, wrapping our hands around the front, and we're just going to rock knees backward and forward towards our chest just to release that low back after doing so much work. You can also rotate the legs round clockwise and anti-clockwise just to give the low back a nice wee massage. Whichever you feel comfortable with, you can just stick with the knee rocks backward and forward or go in for your circle movements as well. While we're here, continuing to maintain that nice slow breath in through the nose and long exhale out through the mouth. Coming into your last couple of seconds, we're going to drop the feet back to the mat and bring our small head pillow back and underneath our head. So we're going to get ourselves recentered here again. Just making sure hips are in the right position, so bringing them into the middle of that movement again, making sure low back is flat on the mat, and we can start to feel that core connection in our low tummy, and drawing rib cage down back towards the belly button just to deepen that core connection. So the next exercise we're going to go into is our scissors. So with our scissors, I want you to take a nice deep breath in, and as we exhale, we're floating one leg to tabletop. Another deep breath in, and as we exhale, floating the other leg to tabletop. In our scissors, we're exhaling, letting one leg toe tap the mat, and inhale to bring back up, and repeating on the other side. Keeping this movement nice and slow, and working with our breath. Exhaling to lower the leg, and inhale to return to that double tabletop position. You can make this exercise a wee bit harder. As you see here, each time I'm tapping my toe on the ground, I'm trying to extend the foot a wee bit further and then walking it back in towards the middle. But again, just working with whichever you feel comfortable with today, if it's the normal scissors or if it's the scissors with the toe taps, making it a wee bit harder. Again, this is another progression I'm showing here, so that is our scissors level 3. In this one, we have one leg in tabletop and the others on the ground, and with each exhale, we're swapping the legs, making sure that the low back stays flat on the mat, and we're working with our breath. So exhaling to swap the legs and inhaling to hold the position. Again, you don't have to work here, you can work with the other two that I've previously shown, and just working with whichever you're comfortable here for a couple of more reps. And we're going to bring the legs back down to the floor, and again, like we did with our shoulder bridges, tucking knees into chest and just rocking either backward and forward, side to side, or around in a nice circle. You can cross over at the ankles and let the knees go out a wee bit wider, and it'll just increase the stretch on your low back as well. So we're coming into our final ab exercise. We're going to bring the feet back down towards the floor and just getting ourselves nice and reset on the mat, making sure that low back is nice and flat. We're going to exhale to bring one leg back to tabletop, inhale to hold, and exhale to bring the other leg up as well. Now this one is a progression, so as you see, arms are up and overhead, and I'm just in our first level of our scissors here, toe tapping the mat, while trying to keep the arms as straight and as above my shoulders as I can. Again, you don't have to do this progression, you can just stay with the arms down by your side, but having the arms up overhead will just make it that bit more challenging. And we can do this for all levels of scissors. So here you see I'm going into the higher progression, swapping the legs with each exhale, and again keeping the arms up overhead just to give it an extra wee bit of a challenge. And you see my arms are now going up behind my ears as I swap the legs. Again, it's just an extra wee level if that's what you're comfortable with, but you can just keep the arms up overhead if it's challenging enough at the minute. Now we're coming into our final rep here. So we're going to finish this ab exercise with a double tabletop hold. So you can either just hold the legs in double tabletop, or as you see here, I'm lifting my chin towards my chest and lifting my head off the head pillow and keeping the arms up and overhead. And this is just going to be our final exercise, just to give that extra wee bit of burn. Whichever position you're holding, stay with me. We're coming up to our last 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale to let the arms come down, and then exhale to return each leg back to the floor as well. And we're just going to finish on the floor with a couple of wee stretches. So I want you to zip the feet and knees up together, and then as you see here, I'm just letting the knees fall out to either side. A nice gentle movement while I'm trying to keep the opposite shoulder to the direction I'm turning on the ground, just to really stretch through that low back. Again, this should just be a nice gentle movement, remembering to take your nice slow inhales and exhales as we just stretch through that low back. Coming into our last couple of repetitions here, and when you're ready, just meeting me in sitting on the mat. So in sitting, we're going to adopt a cross-leg position, so just crossing our legs over, and we're going to go into a spinal stretch. So I want you to have arms out in front at about shoulder height, and we're going to tuck our chin to our chest. A nice deep breath in here, and as we exhale, I want you to imagine there's strings tied at your fingertips, and they're pulling you forward, letting your head drop in between your arms, holding here for an inhale, and exhaling, keeping that nice curve in the spine and chin tucked to chest as we straighten back up. We're going to repeat this a couple of more times, so just making sure chin's tucked to chest. Nice inhale, and as we exhale, we're coming forward. This time we're going to hold the inhale. As we exhale, see if we can go a little bit further forward and hold that new position for another inhale. And again, as we exhale, just coming back up, keeping that curve in the spine and chin tucked to chest, and then straightening back up. And we're going to go for a final one. So just like the last time, we're going to exhale, letting our fingertips bring us forward. Inhale to hold that first position, and another exhale just to see if you can go a wee bit further forward. Inhale to hold here, and exhale to come back up to sitting again. Once you have finished that final spinal stretch, just meet me in standing whenever you're ready, and we're just going to finish the class off here with a couple bits of mobility, and that is you good to go. Once in standing, we're just going to give the arms and legs a nice shake off, and then we're just going to bring soft bend into both knees and go for our 5 shoulder rolls back, really exaggerating the circles here, making them as big as we can. And then we're going to go for 5 forward as well. Again, just making them as big as we can, trying to really exaggerate the circles. And we're going to come back into the neck stretches that we did at the start. So just starting with the chin tucked to chest, and inhale to hold the position. And as we exhale, just rotating the head round so the ear is coming towards the shoulder. Inhale to hold, and exhale to rotate round and through again. Again, just repeating with your breath. Inhaling to hold, and exhale to bring the head round and through, really trying to give that neck a nice stretch. On your next exhale, just bringing chin back towards chest, and again imagine that string tied at the top of your head as if someone's pulling it up towards the ceiling, just to bring nice length back in through the neck. And giving everything a nice wee shake off again. We're going to do our final stretch, which is our roll down. So bringing chin back to chest, hands are at the front of the legs and a soft bend in both knees. And we're exhaling, bringing everything down towards the floor, trying to curl your spine bit by bit. And here you see I'm just doing gentle wee movements side to side, just trying to increase the stretch into each part of the back there. Keeping the movements nice and slow, and just going round to either side if we can. And then we're just going to bring ourselves back to the middle. Hands are going to come at the front of the ankles, and we're going to take a nice big inhale through the nose. And as we exhale through the mouth, hands are sliding back up the front of the legs, trying to uncurl our spine bit by bit, and chin stays tucked to chest until the very end. And we're going to finish our class with our 3 big shoulder shrugs. Nice big inhale, bringing everything up towards the shoulders, and release with a big sigh. And again, just a nice big inhale, bringing shoulders up towards ears, and release with a big sigh. And finally, the biggest inhale you've taken all class, and release with a nice big sigh. Thank you very much for taking this class, and I hope you enjoyed it.